Hello and very warm welcome from Dr. Ahmed YouTube channel. Today in this video, I shall be wrapping up first five chapters of part three of the novel Twilight in Delhi by Ahmed. Part three is in this novel a type of tragedy where number of things will happen which go to prove that the novel is not only a love story, it is also a tragedy story. Not only the love meets tragedy, but also politics or the political situation or political paradigm meet this type of tragedy. So that is why the part three begins here, and we have number of chapters here. Why I say that I'm going to wrap up five chapters because of the fact that many of the chapters are dedicated to the marriage of Asghar to Bilqis and then the marriage of younger daughter Mehru, younger daughter of Mir Nihal. And in that way, number of points are described about marriage. How do they take place? What are the problems and activities going on? What are the fights and the quarrels and many other happinesses associated with that and the sadnesses. So that is why it's all about marriage. And I think while I live in a Muslim country, I have a lot of idea how the marriages are celebrated or how they are memorized in this part of the world. And I hope that more than I know, you people may be knowing about the marriage, especially our girl students may be knowing how the marriages take place, and same is the case of to some extent with the boys as well. So it is this type of chapters should be read in such a way that they are compared with the real life. What happens actually in the real life, in the real marriages, may be compared with that, and it can be in a very good way put into an assignment to show what are the marriage ceremonies which reflect our culture, Muslim culture, that were described at that time, that were celebrated at that time, that were observed at that time. What is the difference right now with the passage of time? What difference have occurred? So in that way, these chapters can be very well understood. Teachers can make certain activities on these chapters by letting their students tell what ceremonies they know, and then letting them read some of the ceremonies from these chapters, and they may be able to see what is the difference and what are the similarities there. So I shall also be wrapping up a few of the things in these chapters so that we may have a fair idea what happens. This is part three, part three of the novel, as I said already, and I shall be taking you to first chapter first of all instead of spending time here. So we are told in the beginning that after coronation, Darbar passage was done. Immediately after that, the preparation for the marriage of Asghar started at the home of Mir Nihal. Number of things were happening. For example, here we are shown that women worked away embroidering, taking classes and borders, serving food and talking. So in that way, a lot of hustle and bustle was going on because it was the marriage of Asghar. A much cherished, much wanted marriage was going to take place, and in this passage we can see that some of the dresses are sent to Bilqis' house as the part of the dowry, as the part of ornamentation. So it is a kind of ceremony, so people carry these clothing and other materials towards the, for example, we are told that rose water, attar and scents are also sent there, and in that way number of other things like there are fruits, copra and crystallized sugar in the trays. All these things go, and the chamaris carry all that on their heads. Chamaris are the people who may be called people from the working class, the women who sing, dance, and they most of the time are found working in the houses of the big people. So in that way, in Mirza Shabazz Beg's house where Bilqis is living, these things are carried, and Bilqis is told that she's going to marry, and that is why number of hustle and bustle activities and eating and singing and songs were going on. So this is the start of the marriage ceremonies. These marriage ceremonies continue not only at the house of Bilqis, but also at the house of Asghar. Whatever ceremonies are related to boys' ceremony, these are being carried out here, and the ceremonies which are related to the girl's family, they are being carried out there. At the home, Dilchan is very happy. She's singing, she's dancing, and she's wearing a Turkish cap of Masroor and is feeling very happy, though her mouth is reflecting old age because of the toothless gums and many other things. But she still danced very well. She was showing her happiness that she's dancing in that way. So singing and dancing is going to be something new, something which brings hustle and bustle and happiness and change in the family. And same is the case with wearing of the rings. For example, the engagement ring, which is actually engagement activities which are done in this part of the chapter. Marriage will be in the next chapter. So here, not only the holy verses from Quran are uttered by Ijaz Hussain, who is putting Asghar's hand a type of ring of that that engagement with Bilqis. So in that way, one of the big ceremonies is that. And ultimately, after that, when the ring is worn, then the kind of preparation is done in such a way that obtana or obtan, what we call in our society today, that is applied to the hands of the girl and that of the boy also. So this activity also is continued. It's called mayo sometime in our area, and that makes the girls and the boys sick of that because they have to sit for a very long time. Especially it was a December time, so Asghar was feeling so cold, and same was the case with that girl Bilqis. She was also feeling very cold. So in this way, these ceremonies are performed in this chapter. These are the engagement ceremonies. Second chapter of this part reflects the marriage ceremonies. That again begins with the clothes, like it is wearing of the clothes by people, not only by brothers and brothers of Asghar, but also Asghar himself and the father also. So they are wearing different types of clothing, as is pajama, and there is some kind of handkerchiefs they are having. So these special clothes for the sake of marriage ceremony is there. Then there's the sihra, but bandhana vagara that is going to be there. And Ahmed Wazir is the barber who is preparing everyone by shaving their faces, by cutting their unnecessary hair, and in that way, number of songs are still being played before the whole people go towards marriage party, and then marriage party moves towards the house of Bilqis. There are two people which have become significant in this regard. In this chapter, we see Sharafullah. He is the one who definitely becomes the representative of Asghar. And Chunu is the son of Ejaz, Mir Ejaz's son. He has become the representative of bride. So in that way, that because Sebala or Sharbala in Saraiki and Punjabi, these two people perform this type of role. So the marriage party is ready, the representatives are ready, and marriage party is about to start. And then old Akhunji, he is supposed to, read some holy verses and make the girl and the boy confess to each other that they are married. This is called nikah ceremony in our area, in the Pakistan as well, in whole of the Muslim world also. So in this way, Akhunji, very old and venerable Akhunji, he's a learned Maulvi, he performs this nikah ceremony, and as usual, there's a 50,000 rupee amount put for the, as a guarantee that if something happens, this Asghar would have to pay this type of money. So that is the kind of nikah done, and after the nikah, there are chuaras, there are dry dates and other things distributed among the people. They enjoy the eating of all these things. Then continuity of some activities which are hilarious activities, which are definitely the activities which show the happiness of the people, that is done. But before that, the writer dwells for some time on the part of the family where Bilqis is found to be sitting and feeling shy, and she is among the women, and the bridegroom is also sitting there, and the ceremony of putting a sweet food into the mouth of each other is going on. Then the mirror is also shown to these people, and Asghar feels very happy, and his heart is fluttering on the idea that he's going to have his bride with him. His wish of loving that girl is fulfilled. His father agreed to that, so the marriage is taking place, and ultimately all these people go back to the house of Mir Nihal and take everything like that. And then the food eating ceremony is also performed, that Asghar eats from his wife's hand and his wife eats from his. So in this way, very good kind of activities and happiness carry on in this chapter, because this is a chapter which reflects the happiness of the people. Then in the closing of the chapter, there are the coloring ceremony, which possibly we don't perform here in our Pakistani society. That is done by all the people. They color each other with red color or with green color. They smear the faces and the clothes of each other. So the old and senior people become very angry. Mir Nihal, for example, becomes very angry, and Mirza Shahbaz Beg becomes very angry. But this is done, and the people do it. They do with each other. Brothers Asghar do with him, and in that way, number of things continue to happen. Marriage is done. Bilqis comes at the house of Asghar, and Asghar finds that she's 100% shy girl. She doesn't talk much, she doesn't walk much, and she feels very happy, of course, but she does not reflect her happiness. So in this way, the very first trait which is going to become the source of sadness for Asghar is that she does not speak much, doesn't talk much, and she is extraordinarily shy. She had the knowledge. For example, the paragraph shows that she was taught to read and write letters, and she was not reading the books at all other than the books of religion. Nothing else. So she doesn't have much knowledge. She has a little bit of knowledge of cooking and sewing, nothing else. So she can prove a very good housewife, but then she cannot be like very much, clever, or very much educated type of girls who can win the heart of the man by talking. This doesn't happen at all. But still, she looks at her husband with great affection, love, and kindness, and that is why he is beginning to attach with her. In the beginning, of course, Mir Nihal didn't like her, and Bilqis possibly felt it, and she expressed this to Asghar as well. But with the passage of time, Mir Nihal started to like that girl as well. And in the evening time, sometime, and in the other times, they feel the beauty of the evening time, and they feel the color of the evening and the heart's color of each other. They are actually feeling very happy with each other. So life is going on extraordinarily happily for Asghar and for Bilqis, though a little bit of problems do come, and that is why this chapter reflects that. In chapter 4, for example, the things take a little bit of turn because Bilqis becomes pregnant, and so her story is going to stop for a little while. Though a lot of care of Bilqis will be taken, but the more matter will be discussed in this mood. The date of Mehru's marriage drew near. So Mehru, sister of Asghar, the younger daughter of Mir Nihal, is going to be married to someone from Bhopal, and that person is not liked by anybody. His name is Miraj, as it's given in the end of the line. In the end of this page also, Miraj, he had a damage on his face, so his face is distorted, it is disfigured, and he appears to be very ferocious, very cruel, though he may not be so. So nobody had seen him, and the story is told how he became this type of appearance. That is told to everybody, but still, now, although Asghar is of the opinion, some people are of the opinion that this marriage should not be done, but Mir Nihal says that it has to be done because he's given the will. So everybody agrees to that, and ultimately, Mehru is married to Miraj as well. So in this way, you can see the start of different types of sad things begin because Bilqis, although she's shy, we know that within the story she will die, and Mehru will be carried on how to the house of Miraj, and she will live there in sadness because she doesn't like possibly her husband, but she cannot speak a word. Same is the case with Bilqis, that she's shy and she would be able to fulfill requirements of her husband in total. As a result, he will be sad up to some extent, but he's still very happy because of the expectation that some baby would be part of his home as well. So he's happy at this moment, but all this happiness is going to turn into something sad as well. With the passage of time, we shall see that. Chapter 5 doesn't need any type of explanations because here everybody is going back to his or her home, and the bride Bilqis had started to go to her mother's home also for some time in order to take care of everything like that. Same is the case with the Eid is celebrated, which is called as Bakrid or Bakra Eid as we call it, that Eid is celebrated, everything is done, but sadness is there in the mind of Asghar also, in the mind of Bilqis also. All of these people are not feeling that happy as they used to feel in the beginning of the part 3 of, or part 1, part 2 of the book, and in that way number of things going to happen. Actually, these two strains, which is political strain on the one hand and social strain, romantic strain on the other hand, they go hand in hand. So symbolically, they are represented, although they are different from each other. For example, we can see that Delhi, for example, a place of romance, a place of beauty that was nurtured by the people of India, and ultimately it was destroyed, it died, it was killed, and as a result, the wishes, the desires, and the happinesses of the Muslim people were also killed. So this, if it's seen in a miniature, in a house on the romantic level, we will see that Asghar, who wanted to marry Bilqis, he was very happy, extraordinarily happy. He made extraordinary efforts to bring that bride to his home. He, of course, brought that, but ultimately, Bilqis also will die. And as a result, the twilight of Delhi will be reflected in the life of Asghar, who will also have the twilight of his life because of this death. So in this way, something which is cherished, something which is loved, ultimately it goes back to something which is called sadness, as it has happened in case of Delhi also. The same things possibly may be happening here as well. So the romantic strain, the political strain are going side by side. The student must remember that all these chapters are about the marriage ceremony, the kind of things which happen there, the items which are done there, the cultural, the kind of customs and the traditions which are observed there. All these things can be compared with real life also. So next time in chapter 6, we shall be meeting of this book. Hopefully the students have enjoyed this one too. So do not fail to hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. And if you have certain queries about that, we can come up with that. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you in some next video. Till that time, keep happy, keep loving, keep peaceful.